Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm here with a review for Masters of the Universe, the 2026 reboot. This is actually my first time ever dipping my toes into the Masters of the Universe or He-Man IP. So I'm very inexperienced with this franchise, keep that in mind. And yeah, it's directed by Travis Knight, who has a surprisingly short directing record or career history, I guess. This is his fourth movie, I think, that he's ever done, which is could have been a lot worse. And that's the other thing I want to say with this review is this is the first video on this channel where I'm going to be maybe going against the grain a tiny bit. I do think this movie was slightly overhyped. My expectations were a lot higher. I still liked it. I still had a good time. It was entertaining. It was funny. And sure, if I wasn't making a review for this right now, there would be nothing to be upset about. There certainly wasn't any woke elements or anything like that to annoy you. It's a perfectly fine, fun movie. But for me, it's especially as a brand new viewer and fan. Well, I wouldn't really say I'm a fan right now, but if they were going to successfully make me a fan, which they kind of didn't, but if they did, this is sort of a flawed way of doing it, in my opinion. This reminds me of if I had never played a Mario game in my life, and to introduce myself to the character of Mario, I watched the first Super Mario Brothers animated movie, the newer one, not the really old school one that I haven't seen. But yeah, I mean, that just wouldn't be a good first introduction, right? You wouldn't be able to, it just wouldn't really work. And that's what this felt like to me. And I'll explain more about that, why I feel that way later. So yeah, if you're a huge mega fan of this movie, this is not the review for you. This is going to be a little bit more critical, and I'm going to give it a pretty harsh rating, I'm not going to lie. But I wholeheartedly believe it deserves a rating I'm going to give it, and there was a ton of room for improvement. So, the plot is that we follow Prince Adam, who lives on a planet called Eternia, where he's training to become a warrior, and he's unable to meet his father's, the king's, expectations. And his kingdom is attacked and invaded by an evil villain named Skeletor, and, pretty much gets obliterated. But Adam is able to escape with the Sword of Power, which is what Skeletor wants, because he's just mad for power. And Adam is told it's very important that you don't lose this sword. It's your only way back home. He then immediately loses it, and so he spends the next 15 years on Earth searching for it, and he eventually is able to find it. And in a rather anticlimactic joke scene, he gets it back, and he finds himself on the way back to Eternia, where he has to defeat Skeletor, and yeah. So, I mean, there's more going on than that. I didn't really go in very in-depth, but I don't really care to, because there's not a lot of depth to the story, if I'm being completely honest. I mean, I just contradicted myself. What I meant to say is there's a lot more characters, but they're so shallow and unimportant that they're not even really worth talking about, in my opinion. Which probably was not the case in the, original He-Man animated series. I'm sure all the characters were equally good, but just not here for me. Okay, so let's start with the positives, alright? And these are very strong positives. That's the best way to put it. I'm not just saying a couple things here and that's it and it's not a big deal. These are very, very good elements. And that's why the film's going to still be above average a little bit for me. Spoiling my rating there, but yeah, so positives. I really liked the main actor and the main character and the main villain. These two characters were well portrayed. They were well done. The only thing with He-Man that I had a problem with was the HR kind of work history they did on Earth. There's no way that was in the original lore, right? So they give him a human resources job for some joke attempts. It's very hard. Ugh, it's awkward. I hated that one scene with the boss lady who pulls him in and starts reprimanding him and just passively aggressively, threatens to fire him. It's so painful. But we'll talk about that more in the negative section. But other than that, I thought He-Man himself was depicted very well. We're not sacrificing too much of the expected masculinity, making a movie in 2026. The whole conversation of toxic masculinity and whatnot online didn't really influence the filmmakers too much, which is a good thing. So yeah, it's not like a preachy movie that's going to get annoying. So it still feels like, and even though I've never seen the original series and I haven't even seen the other movie, the actor from the original movie does make an appearance here. But even though I haven't seen those, it felt authentic to me. Like, yes, the armor's looking pretty goofy, but I'm sure all of this is very accurate. Like, I genuinely believe that. I felt like it had a very distinct style, and it just stuck with it it almost, even though it looked ridiculous, I almost respected it. I did respect it. I respected how goofy it was. I respected that this movie wasn't not taking itself seriously, which is going to be a problem later, I admit. So it's just like, everything's a good and a bad with this one, but that's why I'm so mixed on it. But the point is that even though the armor looked pretty bad, I do think it was authentic. I do think it was faithful, and I think it contributed to the distinct style I was going for, and I respect it for unapologetically going full into that direction of campiness and fun. So, yeah. The action's great. So Skeletor, the CGI is incredibly good. Actually, the visuals are very, very top-notch in this film in general. Which is becoming less and less impressive just because it's so standard now. But, you know, I'm still going to mention if it stands out. And the reason it stands out here is mostly because this is like the opposite of the first Thor movie. The first Thor movie, you get this great Asgard scene at the start, and then they send Thor off to Earth to, you know, I mean, it's basically, I guess this one's basically the same story as Thor. Don't know which one came before which, comic books-wise. But the point is that the original Thor movie takes place too much on Earth, which was a purposeful decision by Marvel to save money so they don't have to render Asgard constantly. This movie isn't like that. Yes, there are Earth scenes here, but I mean, the Eternia scenes far outnumber the Earth scenes, and that is fantastic to see. Yeah, and so the main actor, I thought he was the perfect choice for this role. I mean, it's pretty refreshing to pick a character that actually, or pick an actor that actually looks like the character they're supposed to be portraying, which again is the type of thing that would get me in trouble if I said that on Twitter or something, or X I guess it's called now. But I mean, it's just the truth. I think it's kind of ridiculous when you're casting people who shouldn't be in certain roles. For example, this is going to ruffle some feathers. For example, the new Harry Potter series, the casting choice for Snape is pretty bizarre. So it's nice to have some, like, going back to traditional people are looking what they're supposed to look like. For example, also the new Resident Evil movie trailer, or not the trailer. I actually didn't watch the trailer because I don't want to spoil it for myself. But a friend of mine told me what the actor is for Rebecca. I looked her up online. One for one looks like Rebecca Chambers. Not like Welcome to Raccoon City where you have Leon who doesn't look or sound like Leon at all. I was getting kind of tired of that. It's fine if you want to put diverse people in, you know, all kinds of roles, that's perfectly fine. But when you have an established, super famous, beloved character who looks a certain way, take James Bond, for example. If James Bond were to become a black woman in the next film, I mean, would you really be okay with that? For me, the answer is no. And if you're okay with it, then you're probably not a real Bond fan, no offense. But yeah, so little tangent over, but I'm just trying to say that the casting choices actually were good here. Actually, the main character and the main villain, Jared Leto, is actually pretty good as Skeletor here. And that's quite a compliment coming from me because Jared Leto is one of my least favorite actors. I rarely ever enjoy a performance from him. I'm trying to think of one. I liked him in Fight Club, which he's barely in, but I did like it. And yeah, I mean, I've watched a lot of Jared Leto stuff, and I just do not like any of it, really. I guess he was okay in Blade Runner, but still kind of weird. So yeah, this is now my new favorite Jared Leto performance, I would say, other than Fight Club. But I mean, he's way more present here than Fight Club. Fight Club, he's just so good because he basically contributes to arguably the #1 best scene in Fight Club. But yeah, Skeletor's awesome here. I mean, it's hilarious that Skeletor literally has no depth as a villain, but the film is self-aware of that fact and acknowledges it and does it in an effective way. And I'm sure it was just like that in the animated series, because sometimes evil-looking guys don't always need a reason to be evil, right? They just want power, end of story. So it works perfectly here. Skeletor's fantastic, He-Man's fantastic, and those are the two best characters that are working really well. Yeah, there's some fun music choices, and overall it's just fun. It's the jokes, they're not always hitting, but when they are really funny. There's some particularly really good jokes in this. For example, one of my favorite jokes that really caught me off guard was the the ram head, give them head, or rammer, give them head or something. It's there's a few sus jokes in here that are pretty funny. Okay, so for the negatives. Oh yeah, and also positives, I will say that I did get goosebumps when he said the "I have the power." Awesome. Chills. I'm not even a OG fan and I still got chills. Okay, negatives. Number one. Let's do the easier ones first because I'm going to go on a rant about the story. So there are some miscasts in my opinion. The Riverdale girl, Camilla Mendez. I like Riverdale. I'm a fan. I grew up reading Archie comics. I had a crush on Veronica, I think, when I was super young. And I like her in Riverdale, but I mean, I don't know. She's just a little out of place here. And also the Alison Brie, again, another person I had a crush on actually. And I had a crush on her when I was younger, watching Community. Alison Brie is like hilariously out of place here, like hilariously miscast. She's like trying not to laugh every time she opens her mouth. It's like, they probably had to repeat scenes because of how often she's laughing, if I had to guess. Maybe that's not true at all. She's probably professional, but I'm just saying, yeah, there were some odd casting choices in here. There are also some weak actors. I wouldn't necessarily call those two people I just said weak actors, but there are some additional people that contribute to to awkward scenes. And I don't really need to name and shame them because they're really not super known actors anyway. But there are some scenes in this that completely fall flat because of the acting or lack of ability. I'm not talking about the main cast right now, but there are some B-listers, I guess, or C-listers that are making scenes weird, in my opinion. I don't know, it just felt unnatural sometimes. So you'll notice some awkwardness and some jokes really falling flat when you see this for yourself. Okay, next negative. This is the so the HR thing. This is the one problem I had with He-Man's character. Someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I highly doubt he was an HR guy in the original lore, right? I don't even think I need to look that up. So the human resources stuff, even if that was somehow in the original lore, I did not like how it's depicted here. I mean, it's a reboot, so you can kind of just do it however you want, within reason. Yeah, just, man, just having He-Man go on, like, little spiels about how we all need to talk to each other and, you know, kindness kills and stuff. I mean, it might have been funny the first few times, but by the end of the movie, when he's really trying to turn Skeletor, similar to how Naruto tries to turn Pain, or I guess he successfully does turn Pain, but it was like that Naruto scene with Pain, but in Shippuden. But yeah, if you've never seen Naruto, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is, our good guy is like eye-rollingly trying to turn the villain to good guy status at the end, sort of like Luke and Darth Vader, but unsuccessfully. Yeah, just the HR stuff, the friendliness stuff, just a weird sort of, I don't know how to describe it. I just felt like, I don't need He-Man to be some ultra muscle man. Well, I mean, he's an ultra muscle man, but I don't need him to be some ultra angry, aggressive guy. But he doesn't have to go on spiels about friendliness all the time. He could have just done it with that one crack jaw or whatever his name was. Rip Jaw, I forget his name, but you know, like that was a good scene. I like that scene. The first real fight is a really good scene. It's funny, it's endearing. But then the Skeletor fight at the end, it's like, dude, stop it. Just like, let's get on with it. You don't, I don't know. It's just a little ridiculous. Okay, now for the biggest negative, and I'm sure there's more negatives, but I'm only focusing on the big ones right now because there's too much to remember, especially when you make unscripted videos like me. So, the biggest negative of this film is the story, surprisingly, I know. Oh yeah, I should also mention the secondary characters. They just didn't do much. Did I already say this? They didn't do much for me. Unfortunately, yeah. I'm sure this, yeah, I did say this already, right? I said that in the original animated series, I'm sure they're better, but here, they just didn't do much. I didn't care for them. I was not invested in them, unfortunately. Especially those three superhero guys, the Ranhead guy, the Mecha Neck, and Fisto. Didn't care for them. Okay, so the last major negative that I can think of on the spot right now, which is something I did think about a lot before, but it's so hot today, man. My brain's a little cooked. Okay, the story. So, what's the problem with the story? Well, a lot. And I think it stems from the fact that the movie's not taking itself seriously, which is a good thing. And I mean, that's one of the good elements of it, is that it's having some fun, it's being campy, right? But it took it a little too far at times. In my opinion, the jokes and humor and campiness should be used mostly in between scenes or downtime moments. You know, there's a scene where they sit by a campfire and stuff. Like, those are the appropriate moments for jokes because there's not a lot going on, right? But those scenes still need to happen for whatever reason, which is fine. But instead, this movie really turns every single major event into a joke and every single significant aspect about He-Man's character into a joke as well. So, first of all, Adam losing the sword at the start of the movie is a pretty big pill to swallow because it's a problem. It leads to the deaths of thousands of his people just because he couldn't hold on to a sword properly that he was just told to not let go, and like, it's basically, that's your most important thing in your life right there, so don't lose it. So he loses it immediately, and he spends 15 years on Earth being an annoying HR guy with a dumb job, I'm sorry. And so that's already kind of a problem, but I could live with just that one. But then there's more, which just exasperates the problem even further. So when he gets his sword back, finally, it is very anticlimactic. Yes, it's a joke. Yes, it's funny. But it's supposed to be like a really significant moment, and it's completely has like no impact to it because it's literally like he's just grabbed a doodad off of a comic book store shelf instead of like some epic King Arthur quest or something. I don't know. Very anticlimactic, does not have impact, not very significant. And this technically gets somewhat excused or explained later on when you realize the true nature of the sword and how really the power is always within you and it's just a weapon and whatnot. But I mean, it takes a while to get that reveal and that knowledge, so up until that point, you're spending the movie thinking, wow, this guy is kind of a dunce, you know, like, he really is not taking this seriously, he's doing a terrible job of trying to save his people, and he's just kind of, like, getting on your nerves sometimes. I mean, it's like, clumsy to a fault, almost. I'm ragging on him now, but I still like this depiction of He-Man. I'm just saying that it could have been done better than it was. And then you have, so he's already lost the sword because he wasn't, you know, didn't have a strong enough grip to hold on to it or whatever. So now thousands of his people dies. So finally he's like, okay, he's gonna redeem himself, he's gonna go back, and it's just more jokes, it's more non-serious, nonchalant. And the way he gets his powers even, yes, I said I got goosebumps in the I have the power scene, which is true. But really, if you think about that scene, I mean, it's kind of unearned. If you think about people calling Rey a Mary Sue from Star Wars, He-Man is the ultimate Rey Sue. Technically, he gets some training at the beginning of the film, but the whole point of that scene is to show us that he's not doing a good job at the training. This is not his, like, destiny or whatever. Turns out, though, it is going to be his destiny. And it doesn't matter if he's unskilled or untalented because he's just going to magically be given everything he ever wants anyways. So, I mean, He-Man is the ultimate Gary Sue. So even that scene doesn't have impact when he first just transforms, even though I said, yes, it's epic and everything. Really, it's epic for me because of the sounds. But as far as the actual story goes, he just randomly gets his powers, does not earn them. Yeah, it just feels like nothing is taken seriously at all, which is a fine direction for a film like this with ridiculous looking armor and costumes and, you know, whatever. But sometimes you need to, like, if you want to have a real strong universe or fan base, in my opinion, you need to have some actual impact to important story events. Think of Marvel. You know, when they're cracking Marvel jokes early on, it's like random little scenes here and there. It's not during like someone's traumatic backstory or something that the jokes are happening. So I'm going to give Masters of the Universe a very harsh, but in my opinion, accurate 6 out of 10. And I did press the like button, and I would watch this again. And if I wasn't making this video, I probably would be a lot more lenient on it, just casually enjoy it and move on with my life. But for the sake of the video, for the sake of being objective, I think it is kind of messy. And I mean, even the humor is getting messy sometimes. There are some jokes that completely fall flat. Like, I almost got secondhand embarrassment they fell flat so bad. And there were some performances that were lacking, and there were some miscasts as well. So it is not a perfect movie. It was slightly overhyped for me. And but yeah, I don't hate it. I'm just like, it's not quite on the level I was hoping for. But it's not bad. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.